Happy Sunday, October 29th to all of you. Thank you for watching NFL Pub Hub right here on Pub Sports Radio, NFL Sunday's best show. Complicated week. This is the least amount of action I've had going into a Sunday this year. This is the first time since my days in Costa Rica, this was a rare situation even down there, where I have had more action yesterday in college football than I do on Sunday in NFL. There are some spots that I'm close to jumping onto, and a lot of work will be done right here with you guys. Thank you all so much for joining us. We got Mr. Vape in the house. Looking at over 4.5 sacks in the Texans games. Lockett over 42.5 yards. Steelers money line. Justin McElvey stacks play today is the Green Bay Packers. Stacks is running hot right now. Ecom Bo in the house joining us from Costa Rica. We got Brooklyn Funk Project. Perky Sanderson. Sky Dragon ready to go. Perky is moving on the Fish and the Cowboys. Billy Friedrich says, let's go Houston Texans. He's using that in the Survivor contest at Pub Sports Radio, which is wild. Brad Summersell, Kadesh Dean, Charlie Bradshaw, Crystal Craig, Kush God, Gerald Jones, Joey Harb, James Parm, Jared TG, Harold Williams, Gagnon, Serious Business, Nuke Worker. Great to see all of you guys. So I cashed on the Broncos team total over 16.5, with the 2-point conversion that bounced up in the air. Sometimes the bounces will go your way. That 2-point conversion also allowed me to push the over 42. I'll take it. I'm sitting 52 and 45 plus 2.13 units, hitting at 53.6%. My ROI is plus 2.20%. My average line is minus 110, minus 110. I have 5 bets on today's card. I have the Rams, Cowboys under 45.5. I have the Broncos plus 8 and the Bengals plus 6. Those were all locked in on Tuesday. Last night, staring for the entire week on these 5 games, staring at the Steelers game, Commanders game, the Jets game, the Titans game, and the Cards, staring at them. I only moved on the Steelers and Commanders. At this point, the Jets minus 3, the Titans plus 2.5, and the Cardinals plus 10 or 9.5 is just a lean situation for me. And I have both the Jets and the Cardinals in the Cappers contest for Pub Sports Radio, but I don't have them. I haven't bet them yet. I haven't bet them at this point. We have in the Pub Sports Circa contest week 8 picks. Our number 1 pick was the Colts. I mean, it's a surprise. The market's moving heavily against them. The number 2 pick was the Vikings. I mean, the sharps all over the Packers. The number 3 pick was the Titans, a plus 3. I like that. And then we've been voting on big favorites all year. We're 17, 16, and 2. But we have both the Lions and the Dolphins on our Circa contest week 8 picks. 17, 16, and 2. That ties us for 2,048 out of 5,273. Guillermo Zertucci, who is leading our contest, 24, 10, and 1. Right now would be tied for 24th out of 5,273 cappers. We have an incredible show. I love this show so much. We have Birdie hitting leadoff. We have LJ second, Peter Loshak third, Brizzy fourth, Brizzy second overall out of 25 cappers here in our NFL Pub Hub. We have Flash joining us from Costa Rica right now. He's ranked 4th out of 25 cappers. Spenny Penny Bombs got off to a bad first show, had a strong second show with us. Last year, he placed 2nd overall in NFL Pub Hub. Nicholas Earl is returning after a tough first show with us. And then Big Ragu, our leader right now and our season 1 champion, will be closing it up, headlining this bad boy. Let's go over and touch on Troy Torrance's action here, as he is my partner in Bankroll Blitz on Tuesdays. And this is his action. He's also on the Cowboys Rams under. He's doubled up on it, 45 and 45.5. He's on the Packers plus 1.5. The Browns plus 3. That line's moved against them. He's with me on the Broncos plus 8. And then he has teasers. And every one of his 4 teasers is banking on the Lions. Lions minus 2, Eagles minus 0.5, Lions minus 2, Bills minus 2.5. Bills took care of business. Lions -2, Steelers +8.5, Lions -2, Titans +8.5. That is his action. There's our guy Razor Sharp Picks in the house. Mikey M, Harold Williams, Wine Time Sports, Slow Jams Arsenal, Ian Shaber, Billy Friedrich, Brad Summersell. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on NFL Pub Hub. The most important injury notes all revolve around quarterbacks. Daniel Jones out, Tyrod Taylor starts. Ryan Tannehill out, Will Levis starts. Malik Willis will get to see the field at some point, supposedly. Deshaun Watson out, PJ Walker starts. Kyler Murray out, Joshua Dobbs starts. Justin Fields out, Tyson Bagent starts. Brock Purdy clears concussion protocol and starts, and Jimmy G will be starting tomorrow evening in the Monday Nighter. Let's get to work right now. Econ Bo says, is it live yet? Yes, Econ Bo, please refresh, Ecom, because we are live and in action and about to bring on our first guest. He is 11-11 plus 0.51 units. This is his fourth appearance here on NFL Pub Hub in 2023, and we are ready to rock right now. Please welcome from Kingston, Ontario, Canada, hitting a leadoff for today's NFL Pub Hub. Please welcome Birdie to the show. Birdie, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, sir. Happy to be here. I don't know if leading off is good or bad, but we'll know in about 6 hours, I think.
It's an important position on the show, so let's get right to work right now. Atlanta Falcons 4-3, 1-2 on the road at Tennessee Titans, 2-4, 2-1 at home. We're at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. All these weather updates I've updated within the last half an hour to keep them as fresh as possible. 72 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 6 miles per hour. Injury-wise, it's a pretty clean Falcons squad. Tay Davis, linebackers, still in concussion protocol. Bud Dupree, linebacker, is dealing with a groin injury. He's questionable. As I said off the top, Tannehill is out. So is tight end Josh Weil and cornerback Roger McCreary. They are out. Defensive lineman Laquan Jones is questionable. Let's get into the line history here for you, Birdie. Starting off with Falcons, Titans. We have Titans sitting right now at Pinnacle plus 2.5 at -104. A lot of us were wondering, could this get to a 3? Could this get to a 3? And it did. It did around Monday, Tuesday. But that's about it. This is just now barely juiced to the Falcons on the -2.5. Let's get over to the total here for this one. Total-wise, we're sitting at a very, very low 35.5. There are 35s on the board. Pinnacle has this at 35.5. This was a 35 until 30 minutes ago. 30 minutes ago, this jumped up to 35.5. And when we get to the cash flow, here we go. Sorry about that. When we get to the cash flow for this one, you have 65% of the tickets and 59. Oh, it just changed. Wow, that was a big change. 55% of the tickets and 59% of the cash on the Titans, 55 and 59. And from a total scenario, 59% of the tickets and 81% of the cash on the under. Birdie, take it away. Your first game and our first game of the show, Falcons Titans.
Yeah, I'm glad we're starting with this game. I mean, it's no secret. I'm a believer in the Falcons. I actually think today sets up really well for them. The last couple of weeks, they've had actually probably the last 4 weeks, their offense has really improved, especially in the passing game. The issue with them, unfortunately, has been Ritter's had some fumbling and interception issues. The interceptions, they aren't the normal for him. If you look over his career in college and then early in his NFL career, the interceptions is something he really has done a good job kind of protecting against. I think the fumbles last week, 2 of the 3 were very random, and definitely could have been avoided. I mean, a bad snap, I mean, that can get cleaned up. His effort going into the end zone to score 7 points, all he had to do was protect the football there. Lesson learned. He's a young quarterback in the NFL playing his 12th start. I really like his progression. And the thing that I'm really encouraged about, what we weren't seeing in the first 7, 8 starts from him, is his fear of throwing the football down the field. He's gotten away from that. And yes, we're going to see a few interceptions, but we're also seeing a lot of really good down the field passing, which this offense desperately needs because Arthur Smith really wants to run the football. And you can't run the football if all you have to do is cover the first 20 yards from the line of scrimmage, which is changing fast. So in this game, I think the Falcons have an opportunity to win this one by margin, to be honest. I like the fact that the Titans are starting a first-year rookie quarterback in Levis. And if we remember, Levis got hurt in the preseason, so he missed the last 3 weeks of preseason, essentially, with injury. And then the season starts, and you have Tannehill back, and you have Willis on the second team, and Levis has been on with the practice squad guys. So this is the first time that Levis in his pro career has had any opportunity with this first team to get any sort of first team reps. And I know they were on the bye week, but last week they're not allowed in the facility because players need this week off and they're not there. So really, this bye week really hasn't helped him very much, in my opinion, and we'll see on that. The way I decided to attack this game today for the show is I'm going with the Titans team total under 17. That's on the three-way line at Bet365. The Titans have only covered the 17 points 2 out of their 16 games. I don't see the offense ticking up with Levis, and I know they're going to work some packages in with Willis today. Anytime a team is probably going to use 2 quarterbacks in a game is something that I'll happily fade. So I really like that under 17. It's minus 120, paying a bit of juice, but as I say, they've only hit 17 points or more in 2 out of the first 6 games they played.
Yeah, the three-way would mean if it hits 17, you lose. So we can cut
Correct.
10 cents off of that. Just give you the Titans under 16.5 at minus 110. That's available right now at Bet365. Titans under team total under 16.5. Minus 110. Big Ragu agreeing completely. We have cappers on either side of the ledger on this one. Brooklyn Funk Project believing in the Titans. Al Cervic, believing in the Falcons. Billy Friedrich saying, Levis will outplay Ritter, so he is on the Titans. So is Jake Burns. Justin McElvey is on the Falcons. So it's both sides of the fence here on this one. So let's keep rolling. Cam Raphael, my man, I love your transparency and I love capping with you. And I was very nervous going into that football game yesterday. Sky Dragon believing in Levis as well. But we have the first spot on the board from Birdie. Titans team total under 16.5. Now we get into the most important game of your day, Birdie. This game you have tied with 2 parlays. You've taken it down to the money line. You also have the team that you are fading, their team total under on an alternate line at plus money. Let's get into it right now. The most important game on the card for Birdie. New York Jets at New York Giants. Jets 3-3, 1-1 on the road. Giants 2-5, 1-2 at home. Jets coming in off the bye. Giants coming in off that 14-7 win at home over the Commanders. We're at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and we have showers. There's a couple spots where there's showers. It's not heavy. We're not sure how long they're going to last for. They might not last for long. They might not even really appear at kickoff, but at this point, 55 Fahrenheit showers, 8 miles per hour. As we said off the top, Daniel Jones is out and Andrew Thomas still out. That's 7 games he's not been in there for. Adoree Jackson is questionable. He's crucial, absolutely crucial here, the cornerback for the Giants. Offensive tackle Evan Neal, center John Michael Schmitz. They could both easily be out. Linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau is questionable. These are all questionable guys. And Darren Waller, questionable. Thibodeau needs to be in there. Shout out to Noli Knows who gave out the Thibodeau sack last NFL pop-up, and that cashed at minus 110. For the Jets, Tippmann, offensive lineman for the Jets, is out. And then wide receiver Evan Charles, shoulder is doubtful. Randall Cobb, shoulder. He's not been a big part of this offense. Defensive back Michael Carter, hamstring, is questionable. And defensive lineman Will McDonald, fourth, is questionable. But Mekhi Becton is good to go, and both Sauce and DJ Reed have clear concussion protocol. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Jets, Giants. The Jets I've been staring at. I mean, just staring at all week here. Now they're starting to get juiced. They haven't been this week. You could have got the Jets yesterday morning at even money on the -3. You could have got them, if you want to go back to Friday morning, you could have got them at plus 106 on the -3. They were down to a -2.5. That confused me. I mean, if you want to even go back further than that, you want to go back to Tuesday, that you could get -3 at plus 109. This has all been very confusing. Public coming in now on the Jets, and very difficult keeping them off my card at this point. This total is low. Another very low total to start out this show. We are sitting now at a 35. This open at 36. It's now down to 35. And when we get into the cash flow for this one, we have on the total 61% of the tickets, 66% of the cash. On the under and on the spread, it's 50-50 with 52% of the cash, 50-50 with the tickets, 52% of cash on the Jets. Take it away, Birdie. The most important game on your card today. Floor is yours.
Well, I just don't think this is a good spot for the Giants. If you look at teams that can sack the quarterback really well, in those games, I kind of just targeted Dallas, Seattle, and the 49ers. The Giants have scored 0 points, 3 points, and 12 points in those games. This isn't a very good offensive line. Granted, probably last week against that Washington front, you might say, well, maybe they've fixed that issue, but it's a division opponent. They've played those guys. They understand how to block those guys. And this Jets defense is just a different animal. I was kind of down on them the last time I was on the show. I guess that's about 2 or 3 weeks ago now. But since then, their metrics are starting to jump up and kind of get to that top 5 defense where we all kind of figured they'd be. They're just animals on that side of the ball. And I think they're going to get to Tyrod today. I'm a bit worried for Tyrod today, to be honest. He hasn't had a game where he's gotten sacked like 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and that could happen today against this front. When you get Sauce back and that secondary healthy, then coverage sacks start to happen because wide receivers can't separate. And if you stop Barkley and you score maybe 7, 10 points early on this Giants defense, Bryce Hall's an animal, and I think the Jets are going to be able to move the ball. The one thing that I do like about Wilson is he has shown that he can move this offense down the field. And field goals in this game, if they can get 3 field goals early in this game, the Jets is going to put pressure on the Giants to have to pass the football. And against this Jets defense, I just don't think that's a very good recipe for success. So I decided to, as I say, as you mentioned, I'm putting the Jets money line in with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm taking the Steelers up the 6 points to the 8.5, and I got that at plus 107. I think that's probably around 105 now, maybe a little less because the Jets money line starting to bounce a little bit here. And then I took the Seattle money line and tied it with the Jets money line at plus 150. And the bet I like the most in this game, just because of the defensive matchup against this Jets offense, and given that the most points the Giants have scored in this setting is 12, I took that Giants team total down to 13.5, and I got plus 140.
I love it. So yes, the lines are a little different. We are line shopping right now here. So we got your Jets money line, Steelers plus 8.5 at Bet365. That's at plus 103. Jets money line and Seahawks money line is at plus 140. We're going to talk about those 2 spots next to fill out Birdie's card, and Giants team total under 13.5. If we go over right now to Bet365 and move that to under 13.5, that's plus 125 right now, plus 125. So those are all locked in for you, Birdie. You're tying the Jets money line to the Steelers plus 8.5. Talk about that spot. Jacksonville Jaguars, Pittsburgh Steelers. Jaguars are going to be missing Zay Jones. That's a loss, a legit loss. Walker Little and Brandon Scherf are listed as questionable, and so is Tyson Campbell. So it's important to get those guys back. For the Steelers, they're a pretty healthy group, but their cornerbacks are all questionable. Well, not all, but Levi Wallace, Joey Porter, and James Pierre questionable. That hurts them. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Line history-wise on the Steelers game, which I am on. I'll start with this total. It's moved up to 41. This had been I guess it's been at 41 here at Pinnacle the whole time, even though there's 40 and a half in other books. This is 41 juice to the under. And from a spread scenario, this one is sitting at 2.5. And that upsets me. I moved on the 2 last night. I would much rather have the 2.5. I was beating myself up till 2 or 3 in the morning saying, well, why didn't I just bet the money line? But now it's at 2.5. And that's screwed that one up. Let's get to the cash flow for this one. You have 43% of the tickets, 45% of the cash on the Steelers. And from a total scenario, 45% of the tickets, 83% of the cash on the under. Take it away for us. And we can be briefer on this one because you're just tying it to your Jets play and you're cheating the line. Take it away.
Yeah, don't be concerned. I mean, 2.5's dead. Two's the number you really want. I still think the money line's probably was the best bet in this game. So Pittsburgh's front is really good. And Jacksonville's giving up, I think, the top 2 pressures in the NFL right now. That hasn't turned to sacks. But when you get on grass and you're a mobile quarterback, it doesn't take much for those pressures that you're not getting sacked to turning to now you're getting sacked. And I think that's going to happen in this game for Lawrence. I think the Pittsburgh front is going to have their way with that offensive line and definitely get a ton of pressure on in sacks on Lawrence today. You're going to hear this. I guess you won't, but very similar to where we're at with the Bengals, analytic wise, with the Steelers here. They got off to such a bad start, and power rankings for a lot of guys are very low on the Steelers. But as we've seen year over year, coming off this bye, their offense tends to get better. So I've adjusted a little bit. With the assumption that this offense is going to start to show a bit of improvement, and we saw it a bit last week. And I think it'll continue today. Deontay Johnson coming back was huge for Pittsburgh. I mean, I took it up to the 8.5 on the parlay piece because I like to have the extra points. If you follow me on Twitter and you have your alerts on, you'll know that there's other Pittsburgh bets there that I made earlier in the week. But yeah, that's why I took it up to the 8.5. I like the spot.
Let's talk about the other one that you're tying it to, and that's the Seattle Seahawks at home against the Browns. Lumen Field, Seattle, Washington, 49 Fahrenheit, sunny, 5 miles per hour. As we set off the hop, Deshaun Watson is out. PJ Walker is starting. Jerome Ford, ankle injury right now. You got linebacker Takataki with the hamstring, tackle Jedrick Wills with the foot and ankle, all questionable. So even if Ford plays, we're going to expect to see a lot more of Kareem Hunt. And then DK Metcalf back in action for Seattle. And, you know, it's important. Jamal Adams right now with the knee injury is questionable, and Lockett with the hamstring injury questionable as well. Let's get into this line history here for your next spot. And that is the Seahawks Browns. Wow. Pinnacles moved the Seahawks to 4.5. Wow. It's just moving and moving. A spreadsheet play of the day was on the Browns +3 on our Tuesday show. Troy Torrance got the Browns +3. It's at 4.5. I imagine that Troy is deciding whether or not to double down as we speak. From a total scenario, this is sitting at 38.5. This opened up at 40.5. We've dropped 2 points. And when we get into the cash flow for this one, 4.5, my goodness, 57% of the tickets, 80% of cash on the under. And on the spread, we have 37% of the tickets and 58% of cash on the Browns, but those bigger bets are being overlooked and disrespected by the books. Take it away, Birdie.
So, Jimmy, if I was to ask you right now quickly, name me 3 Browns defenders.
Well, we'd have to start with the best defenseman or defender in the league, Myles Garrett. And then I would, obviously, I just looked at their injury report.
We can stop there. You proved my point a little bit. I think why I did that, there's a perception that this Browns defense is super elite. And I get it. Listen, don't get me wrong. They're good. Schwartz is being added as a DC. He's helped them. No question. They're a good defense. But I think we got to dial it down a little bit on how good this Browns defense really is. They're very dependent on one guy. And that one guy is elite as hell. No question about it. He had the game of his career last week in Indianapolis, and he needed to for the Browns to be in Indy. Otherwise, that's not even close. That's a double-digit loss for them if Garrett doesn't go off and do what he did on the defensive side of the ball. You can't expect that every week. And it's been the same story for the Browns the last 3 or 4 years. When Garrett is the best player on the field, the Browns are competitive and they win. No doubt about it. But now you're asking to go back on the road for a second week in a row to play a Seattle team whose offensive line finally got healthy, who had two really good running backs, have two elite wide receivers and an up and coming elite wide receiver, and have two really good, solid pass catching tight ends. Christ, their tight end last week made the catch of the year so far in the end zone for a touchdown. The Seattle Seahawks, what you're seeing in this line is the Sharps have the Seahawks rated very high now. They're as complete a team in the NFL as you can get on both sides of the football. Bringing Wagner back was huge for them because they really struggled stopping the run last year. If you watch the Seattle Seahawks and their run defense this year, it's night and day. And if you can stop this Browns rushing attack, and now you're going to force PJ Walker to throw the football on you to beat you, I'm sorry, but I'll take Seattle in this spot 9 out of 10 times because Garrett will have that one game wrecking game where he's just going to win the Browns the game on 4 or 5 big hits and turnovers and defensive TDs. I don't see that happening today. The Seahawks are a really good football team. And I could be wrong. Lots of people could be wrong here, but I'm happily backing here the Seahawks. And I think the market's kind of reflecting that. You don't see this type of adjustment in the market very often. And it's been drastic this weekend on Seattle. People are sleeping on it. You look back what they did earlier in the year and it wasn't good. But if you look at that injury report for the Seahawks, the first 3 or 4 games, it was awful. Practically their whole secondary was gone. Their offensive line was practically all gone. They're healthy now, and I expect them to take a pretty big step forward moving forward. And I suspect it starts today.
Let's keep rolling, and we got to be very quick with these next. We've gone over time here. Next up, 4:25 p.m. Eastern. I hear from the chat that the stream is lagging. I don't like hearing that, and I'm not sure why that is exactly, but it's strong here on StreamYard, and I apologize to you guys. Cincinnati Bengals 3-3, 1-2 on the road at San Francisco 49ers 5-2, 3-0 at home. We're at Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, California. 69 Fahrenheit, sunny, 6 miles per hour. Davis Gaither out again. Deebo Samuel out for the Niners. And as we said earlier, Brock Purdy is cleared, concussion protocol. Trent Williams is questionable, and he's crucial. We had a huge move this morning back to the Bengals. This is wild. Back to the Bengals. Now, Pinnacle's still hanging the 4.5. You can get the Niners minus 4.5, even money. 4s everywhere else. We saw 5s, even 5.5s before going to bed last night. And from a total scenario here, we're sitting at 44. And this opened up at 46. It's been all over the map. Birdie, take it away. We got to be tight.
Great. I like Cincy here. They're getting healthier. I think Burrow's probably going to be as close to 100% as he's been. The look ahead line in the summer for this game was 1, meaning when both teams are expected to be fully healthy, playing at their best. The odds makers had this game lined at 1 for the 49ers. Because the Bengals have started the way they've started, this line opened back up at 5.5. The 5.5 was always the overreaction in this game. I still think there's a ton of value now at with the Bengals at 5. Happily taking the Bengals at 5 here, and I would not argue against a money line play here.
Final spot on the board for you is our Monday nighter Raiders Lions at Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan. Jimmy G will be in the lineup, and this line's moving towards the Raiders pretty briskly. We have 7.5s on the board now, and we also have, and this, thinking that he wouldn't be in, this had gone up to 9. From a total scenario, we have a 46.5. This opened up at 45, so it's gone up 1.5 points. And then from the cash flow here for the Monday nighter, 92% of the tickets, 95% of cash on the Lions. It's been like that all week. Everybody expecting this Lions bounce back. And from a total perspective, we are sitting here with 40% of the tickets and 50% of the cash on the under. Take it away, Birdie, and be tight, my guy.
Great. So I'm taking the points here. I got 8. I'm not sure if 8's still available. But I just think this is too many points. As I've said, I've created my own model. I have this at 7, so I kind of figured it would probably settle at 7, 7.5, 7 before game started when Garoppolo got announced back in. So I'm just going to take the +8 here. I'm not going to get into X's and O's, but you're right. There's a big fraction of the market that believes that the Lions are going to win by double digits here, and that could easily happen. But my numbers say to take Vegas, so I am.
You got it. Birdie sitting 11-11 plus 0.51 units on the show. He's on the Titans team total under 16.5. He has Jets money line with the Steelers plus 8.5 at plus 103. Jets money line, Seahawks money line plus 140. Giants team total under 13.5 plus 125. And then he has the Bengals plus 4.5 minus 110. Vegas plus 8 minus 110 still available at Will Hill. Thank you so much, Birdie, my friend. Thank you for hitting lead off. Have yourself a giant day. Any last? Oh, and please follow Birdie on Twitter at Birdie_bets. Birdie, any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Have a day, everybody. Thanks for chat. Best chat in the business. Appreciate all the feedback, positively and negatively. Love you all. Let's have a day.
There he is, Birdie, coming to us from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. We head south. We head to Texas for our next spot. Star of the Trill OG play of the day and of the Raw Words podcast on his channel. Please welcome LJ from H-Town to the show. LJ, what's good? How are you?
What's going on, Jimmy? Happy Sunday to you, sir. Football is here, week 8. So let's see if we can get some money for the chat. Shout out to the chat, best chat in the business, like Birdie just said. So let's rock.
Let's get to work. 1 p.m. Eastern, the Houston Texans, your Houston Texans, 3-3, 1-2 on the road to the Carolina Panthers, 0-6, 0-2 at home. Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina. Both teams coming off of bye, 78 Fahrenheit, sunny, 11 miles per hour. Injury report, Panthers are still out with Von Bell, their safety, and Chanot, wide receiver, is out. Brian Burns and Frankie Louvu are still questionable, same as Xavier Woods. We thought they'd be healthier coming in out of the bye. For the Texans, they have Robert Woods out, Sheldon Rankins, defensive tackle, out, tight end Brevin Jordan out. Titus Howard is a ribs in the hand questionable, as is Hassan Ridgeway. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have a more movement towards, I guess that's not true. It's going back to Carolina. We're going back to Carolina, that -3.5. Now, there were 3s for most of the week, and it moved to 3.5, but we're back to 3s at most books. So we're going back to Carolina. And then from a total scenario here, we have it's sitting at 43.5 right now. This opened up at 41.5. This got up to 45 at one point. And from a cash flow look in this one, and we won't have to do this once we've done it once for all these games, so we'll get speeding up here in a second. 64% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on the over, but it's coming back down. And we have 52% of tickets, 58% of cash on the Texans. LJ from H-Town, take it away. Game 1.
Yes, sir. Like you mentioned, Jimmy, both teams coming off a bye, both teams rookie quarterback. So a lot of things are playing into play in this game, Jimmy. And the fact if the Texans are going to win this game, they're going to have to establish the run game. Now, I don't like the fact that they're a road favorite. C.J. Stroud hasn't been in this position so far this year. And Carolina is 0-6, like you just mentioned. So they're going to be playing very desperate today at home, where they've only played 2 home games so far. Now, it just comes down to whose offense is going to produce the greater efficiency. I like Carolina's pass defense. They're second in the league in opponents' pass attempts. They're ranked third in opponents' pass completions. They're only allowing 168 passing yards at home. So I believe they're going to shut down our run game, because I don't believe we're going to be able to establish a run. And C.J. Stroud is going to have to pass. And I believe that works well for Carolina because their defense is much better in the passing game. Now, as far as the side, I am going to take Carolina plus 3.5, Jimmy. I think they're desperate. I just mentioned the Texans haven't been a road favorite, but if the defense can cause turnovers, they have had 7 takeaways in the last 4. If they can cause Stroud to turn the ball over, Texans do have a chance. But the last 3 games that Bryce Young has played, 65 completion percentage, 6 yards per pass, he's playing very well. And I'm also on his 34 pass attempts. I'm not taking it as a full official play, but I just want to mention that his pass attempts are at 34.5. He's going to have to pass the ball, because I don't believe that they're going to be able to run on our defense. I think we're more vulnerable in the secondary. So I believe Bryce Young is going to have to pass the ball today for Carolina to be effective. I believe he will do it. So I'm on Carolina plus 3.5. And I'm also taking a shot at CJ Stroud over half an interception because I believe he's going to make a mistake. He's only thrown one so far this year. How long is he going to go without having, a mistake thrown here and there on these defenses? So Carolina, I believe, is going to be pressured on him, make him make a mistake. He's going to have an interception. And I think Carolina covers the 3.5 at home and possibly get their first win of the season.
Plus 3.5 minus 115 is available right now. I believe that was my bookie on the plus 3.5 at minus 115. It is. And then the over a half interceptions at what juice, LJ?
Plus 114.
Plus 114. LJ is on the board. Next up, Jets Giants. We've already discussed this spot, so all we need to hear is how you're getting paid. Take it away.
It's easy. This is simple. Under 35.5 total game. Both these teams trend to the under. Brady just mentioned the Giants can't score. They're only averaging 5 points in the first half, 1-6 against the spread in the second half. And the Jets are the same way, 0-6 against the spread in the first half. So I don't see how any of these teams are going to put up any points. I do believe the Giants probably could win the game, but both these teams are familiar here at home. They've only played 3 home games so far. Jets only averaging 16 points in the last home game. The Giants are only averaging 5 points at home on the season. So Giants 34-13-3 to the under as a dog since 2020. Jets 4-1 to the under since 2022 as a road favorite. Everything points to the under in this game, so we might as well just don't be cute. Take the under 35.5 for a game.
35.5 right now. It's moving to the under. So we can give you the under 35 at minus 109. That's at my bookie. It's minus 112 at Pinnacle. The rest of the books are showing 34.5. So we can give you the 35.5 at Pinnacle at minus 121. What would you prefer?
The first one you said. The
under
35.
Yeah. At minus 109. That's available right now at my bookie. Let's move on to the next spot on the board for you. 4:25 p.m. Eastern, Baltimore Ravens at Arizona Cardinals. I've convinced myself that this is a letdown spot for the Ravens. I think it's a pretty easy thing to say after they, destroy the Lions and play almost perfect first half football, beat them 38-6. But I still can't press the button on the Cardinals. I haven't been able to do it. I used them in the contest, so at least, I have some, and maybe by the end of this show, I have the balls to bet them. But at this point, I don't. It's a 9.5 or a 10 juiced right now. Mm-hmm. And from the total scenario here, we have, here we go. From the total scenario, we're sitting at a 45 or 44.5. That's Bovada. It's at 44.5 at Pinnacle, and it opened up at 45. This did go down to 44, so there's been a half point of buyback. Safety Marcus Williams out for the Ravens. That will hurt them, but they're going up against Joshua Dobbs, so it's not like they're going to get beaten up over the top. For the Cardinals, Murray out, as we talked about off the top. Linebacker Chris Barnes out. Defensive tackle Kevin Strong, shoulder injury, out. Offensive tackle Elijah Wilkinson out. And then Greg Dortch, ankle, is questionable at this point. So is Jalen Thompson, but Jalen Thompson is expected to play, and so is Antonio Hamilton, the cornerback. So Buda Baker, Jalen Thompson will be back in business to defend over-the-top passes for the Lamar and the Ravens. So cash flow then on this one, we have 30% of the tickets and 17% of the cash on the Cardinals. If this seemed like a sharper look, I would have already bet it. 53% of the tickets, 81% cash on the under. Take it away, LJ, Ravens, Cardinals.
Jimmy, I wouldn't be mad if you took Cardinals plus 9.5 because I don't believe the Ravens will be interested in trying to cover a 10-point spread. I just believe they'll be satisfied with just getting out with the win. But Arizona, I don't see how they're going to score any points. They've been held under 17.5 points, 4 out of the 7 games, 3 out of the last 4. In Baltimore, 5 of their 7 games, they've held their opponent under 17.5 points. And they've done it 4 games in a row. And they've only allowed 4 touchdowns total in their last 5 games. So everything points to me as an under. And I do believe Arizona can possibly cover the spread. But I'm going to focus on the early part of the game, Jimmy. Baltimore, first quarter, minus 2.5. They're 7-0 against the spread in the first quarter. Arizona averages 3 points in the first quarter. So I believe Baltimore jumps on them early. But Arizona's good in the first half. Both of them are probably averaging around maybe 14, 15 points. So Arizona can keep it close in the first half. But in the second half, Baltimore may get a touchdown, but they don't have to cover the spread. I do believe they will win the game, but It's just all points to the under. Baltimore's defense is playing lights out, man. 14 defensive points allowed, number one. 29 sacks, which is number one. So defense is getting after the quarterback. And like I just mentioned, the Ravens averaging 20-plus points their last 3 road games, which points to an under. The Cardinals, the last 2 games have gone under. So that 45.5 under is also a good look. But I'm going to just focus on the first quarter, Baltimore minus 2.5. I'm going to take Arizona's team total under 17.5 points to total, minus 140, because Baltimore has done it in 4 straight games. So I believe that they can continue to do it versus the offense of Arizona that can't put up any points. Now, I just mentioned I wouldn't be mad if you took the 9.5, Jimmy, with Arizona, because since 2020, teams that are at least 9.5 point dogs at home are 19-6 against the spread over the last 2.5 seasons. So I wouldn't be mad at that, but I'm not taking it. I'm just focusing on the early part of the game. Baltimore first quarter, and of course, team total under Arizona 17.5.
You got it, and you're locked in. Final spot on the board, and we got to be tight here. Kansas City Chiefs at Denver Broncos. We're at Mile High in Denver, Colorado. Schefter and other people talking about the snowfall that's going to be happening during the game. Look, I don't know, but from everything I've looked at the weather report, there won't be snow falling during this game.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, do I want to say that Schefter's wrong and point a finger at him? I don't know what to say. 28 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 5 miles per hour. We know Nick Bolton out for the Chiefs. And the Broncos are a healthy group. I got the Broncos +8 on Tuesday. This total is at 45.5. It opened up at 46. It's dropped to 45.5. And from a spread perspective here, we have the Broncos now at 7. And now it is a juiced 7. So if you wanted the Chiefs -7, you get +105. So maybe it's more of a legit 7.5. We go over to the cash flow for this one. We have 75% of tickets, 85% cash on the under, and we have 34% of the tickets and 76% of the cash on the Broncos. Take it away for us here, LJ, Chiefs, Broncos.
Yeah, Chiefs own Denver, Jimmy, for the most part. Mahomes 15-0 versus division on the road, 13 straight wins versus the division. He's never lost to Denver. So, but the fact that the weather is inclement for me, I do believe it's going to clear up once kickoff. I believe it's snowing right now, but reports I saw said it's going to clear up by kickoff, so it won't be really that effective. I wanted to jump on the over, Jimmy, because the last 6 road division games that Kansas City has played, the total has averaged 55. And I think the total's too low, but I don't know if that snow is going to come into effect. So I kind of eased off of that one. So I'd rather just throw a prop out to everybody. Patrick Mahomes, over 274.5 passing yards, -104. He's hit this 5 out of his last 6 games. He's had 300 plus the last 3 games versus Denver, and Denver allows the 3rd most passing yards of the league. So if I believe that the Chiefs are going to get on Denver, scoring them a lot, I don't think they covered the last game at Thursday night a couple of weeks ago, but they may have a chance to cover this one. But I'm going to stay off of that and just stick to what Patrick Mahomes does best versus Denver. He owns them. So Patrick Mahomes, over 74.5 passing yards, -104.
274.5 passing yards at -104.
You know what? I just saw Razor take the over, Jimmy. Put me down. Over 45.5, the over -110. The fact that Razor just said that lets me know it's going to cash, because I capped that as well. And I don't want the snow to factor in. I wanted to do it. I got to trust my gut. Thank you, Razor. Over 45.5, -110 for the total as well.
I love that. Johnny Gilpatrick, whom we love dearly, he's a top 5 in the contest, says Mahomes has the flu.
Whoa.
This just in right now from Johnny Gilpatrick.
Really?
Patrick Mahomes has the flu. This is the first I've heard of this. Yes, he has an illness. This is out right now.
He's out?
So no, he's not out. But this is out. He's flu. He's dealing with the flu. This came out 5 minutes ago online.
Wow.
Patrick Mahomes has the flu.
Okay. Well, hey, it is what it is. I'm going to stick to my prop, and I'm going to stick to my side. I'm not going to get discouraged. If it happens, it happens, but I'll live with the results.
Okay, and Markel says allegedly, and he is playing but 6, says Marty Riggs. We love you, LJ. Mahomes over 274.5 passing yards, over 45.5. Ravens first quarter -2.5. Cardinals team total under 17.5. The under 35 in Jets, Giants, and Panthers +3.5. And CJ Stroud over a half interception of +114. Please follow LJ on Twitter at LJ Sports Media. LJ, thank you for all your hard work. I hope we get you on these live streams this evening and tomorrow night. So I'll reach out, but thank you for all your hard work, my man.
No problem, man. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's catch.
Let's get it and let's cash. Let's move on to our next guest. We go from Houston, Texas to Brooklyn, New York. Our next guest was our Cappers Contest champion in our inaugural season last year on Pub Sports Radio, and he's had a tough year thus far, but we're not even fully halfway there. So is there going to be a bounce back right here? Let's find out. And please welcome star of the Pete Loshak Show right here on Tuesdays, 11 a.m. on Pub Sports Radio, Mr. Peter Loshak. Pete, how are you, my friend?
Well, I'm doing all right because killed college football. Yeah, killed it. Killed college football yesterday. So I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. NFL, not well. NFL, no. NFL's going great. It's going great. I'm like 50-50 on sides on the year, but I'm like 65% on totals or something ridiculous like that. So it's been a weird year, Jimmy the Bag. I'm doing well in Survivor. I'm shitting the bed in the contests. It's okay. Everything's cool, baby. Everything's cool, man. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing good. It's great to see you. You are a sight for sore eyes. We miss you, and we love you, Pete, here.
Thank you very much.
Let's get to work. 1 p.m. Eastern, Philadelphia Eagles at Washington Commanders. We're at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. I moved on Washington last night at +7. I've been talking myself into it all week, and I pulled the trigger. 73 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 3 miles per hour for the Eagles. Bradley Roby is out, their cornerback, but, Bradbury is in action, and they're a pretty healthy group. And for Washington, Cody Barton is out. He leads them in tackles. That's a problem. And so is Sadiq Charles, their offensive guard. And they have been a horrible offensive line this year. Curtis Samuel dealing with a knee injury. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Pete, I would love to see 6.5 across the board. Can you show me something? No, they can't. But the plus, if you want -7 for the Eagles, at least it's even money. I like seeing that. I'd prefer to see 6.5s across the board. We're not seeing that right now. This opened up at 6.5 and has moved to 7. From a total standpoint here, we're sitting at 43.5. It's really a 43. It's the 43.5 is +105 to the over, but this opened up at 44.5. So we've dropped 1 point. We go to the cash flow here. We have the Commanders with 49% of the tickets and 74% of the cash. The books don't seem too concerned, or it would be a 6.5. 52% of tickets and 88% of cash on the under. The Commanders always play. They always play the Eagles tough. They always do. And there's certain rivalries in football where the one team just always plays the other team tough. And, we talk about the Bengals not being able to beat the Browns and things of that nature. And this is somewhat similar. Not that the Eagles can't beat them, but that the Commanders play them tough. Take it away, Pete. Floor is yours. Eagles, Commanders.
Did you say you like the Eagles in this one, Jim?
I'm on the Commanders at +7.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I took the commies. I took them +7. I don't really have an explanation for why the line hasn't moved, although in the NFL, it's a little bit less, concerning. I would have liked to have seen it moved a little bit. But yeah, I took the commies. Obviously, the sacks are a huge issue. Are they going to be able to figure it out? I'd bet probably a little bit. If they don't, will that be a shock? No. I took a shot with the commies. I took a shot with the under as well. So maybe the Philly team total under is the best play of all here, but no brainer play. Commies +7. That's what I'm on. If you want to tail, great. If you want to fade, great. I don't know. Commies +7. I took it.
Did you also want to move on the under?
I mean, I don't know, Jim. Yeah, I mean, I took a small shot with it. It's cutting it close. The Philly team total under is kind of tempting, maybe 24, and that's a little scary though. Now let's just stick with the commies +7. Let's just stick with the commies +7. Even though, once again, NFL this year, I'm like 50-50, and for whatever reason, totals like 61.5%. But yeah, I'll just stick with the commies +7 in this one.
Perky Sanderson, he says he's not saying he is, but Loshak is the type of guy where if he was banging his sister, he'd be cool with it.
You know,
Right.
yeah,
Next
whatever.
spot on the board for you, Pistol, is Chiefs Broncos. We just discussed it and broke it down, so let's hear your action.
Again, I took the Broncos. This line has moved, which I guess is a good sign. The news that flu news I've noticed is always like, I don't know. You hear that in the NHL a lot. The whole team has the flu, and then they come out and they win anyway. So I never know what to make of flu news. But yeah, I took the Broncos at like you. I got a better line early week. I got 8. I think 8. I don't even remember what I got. So I'm not surprised that it went down. The Chiefs are obviously tremendous. I also took a small shot with the under on this one, and that line has moved a bit as well. Obviously, we know that the Chiefs defense is phenomenal. So that supports the under and makes a play on Denver getting all those points. A little bit more nerve wracking, but I've been betting Chiefs unders all year and generally doing well with them. So once again, liking the under, liking Denver plus the points. That means that I must be liking the Chiefs team total under even more than either of those, which I guess I do. I don't know. But liking Denver, liking the under, liking, I guess, the KC team total under. And that's my take on the game. Nothing to just think the line is off. The Chiefs defense is great. Don't like Denver in general. Don't like to bet against Mahomes. Don't like to bet against the Chiefs, even with reports of Mahomes having the flu. But that's what I did. And if they lose, it's okay. But, that's my take on it. Yeah, Chiefs team total under 27 is tempting as well, minus 117.
What do you want to make official?
I guess I'll just take Denver plus 7 at minus 114 or anything better.
Plus 7.
Give me that.
Look at the minus 110. I just looked at
Okay.
that, the minus 110 here. Let's move on to your next spot on the board, your final spot on the board, and that is our Sunday nighter right here on Pub Sports Radio. I can't wait for it. I have the Chargers in the survivor pool, and last weekend I needed to get out of my live bet stream funk, so I put in the same game parlay plus 475. I cashed it on the Sunday night, so I did it again on the Monday, and I cashed it again on the Monday. So I put one together for this game. I'm not going to put it out on Twitter. I'm not going to talk about it here. I'll only talk about it on our live stream, but it's at the exact same spot, plus 475. So I'm going to go for 3 straight same game parlays, only 3 of the year. Let's talk about this one at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. As we talked off the top, it's the Tyson Bagent show. Fields will not be there. Offensive lineman Nate Davis is out for the backfield. Jaquan Brisker is sick, but so I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Brisker. Dan Feeney with a knee injury, and Eddie Jackson, another defensive back with a foot injury. Obviously, they need Jackson and Brisker against Herbert. Let's get into the Chargers. Gerald Everett with a hip injury, Alohi Gilman with a heel injury, Jalen Guyton with a knee injury. They are dealing with injuries. Palmer also with a knee injury. Now, these guys are all just listed as questionable at this point. Let's get into the line history for our Sunday nighter. This total is at 46 at minus 111. It opened up at 44, so we've gone up 2 points from the spread. We are sitting here with a 9.5 and a 10 now at Pinnacle. I like seeing that. A 10 now at Pinnacle. So this was a juiced 8. This was a juiced 8 not long ago. And now we have a 10. I love that. So here we go from a cash flow scenario. We have 48% of tickets, 49% of cash on the under. And from the spread, we're sitting with 42% of tickets, 70% of cash on the Bears, but there is no concern by the markets. Take it away, Pete. Bears, Chargers.
I'm reading about all this Patrick Mahomes stuff. Yeah, I took the Bears. So the line's headed back in the Chargers' direction, huh? Yeah, I think I got like 8.5 and 9. Don't exactly remember specifically what I got, but I don't love to see that it's heading back in the Chargers' direction. But I took the Bears. I have some reason to believe that the Bears have gotten a little bit unlucky, and the Chargers, without Herbert, they have some real. I mean, Herbert's great, but around them they have some real issues, some real questions, and I'm not convinced that that a double-digit win is a 50% proposition. So I'm not exactly sure how big I would put the edge on the Bears here. Cutting a little bit close, but I think they'll be able to go in and keep it close. I was on them last week for sure, and I'll take them again this week. If you can give me 10, that'd be great. I'll take 9 though. Taking the Bears to keep it close. Just not a believer in the Chargers. as this big of a favorite. Again, there's some analytics that made me concerned about the team, not counting Herbert. So and the Bears are the opposite. There's some reason to believe that the Bears have gotten a little bit unlucky at this point. So taking the Bears here plus all those points.
You get 10 at -115, plus 10 -115. Broncos plus 7 at -110. Commanders plus 7 at -108. Big dogs for Pistol Pete Loshak. Pete, thank you so much for joining us. Please follow Pete on X at P Loshak and catch his show every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's a great show. You got Gogster with NHL. You got CMAC with NBA. It's a great show. So, Pete, much love. Thank you for joining us. Any last words for the Cappers support in the chat?
Right on. No, just tail with caution. Tail me with caution. If I'm just letting you know what I'm on. Not guaranteeing that those are positive EV plays, but we'll see. We'll see, Jimmy the Bag. Thanks, man.
We love you, Pete. There he is, Pete Loshak. We go from Brooklyn to West Virginia. Our next capper in West Virginia, not because he wants to, I think. Generally from South Jersey, usually in South Jersey, now in West Virginia. Let's bring him on right now. He's been absolutely spectacular. In week 6, he swept the board 4-0, went plus 6.40 units. He's 9-6, but he's plus 6.59 units because he puts together player props with big plus lines and he cashes them. Please welcome Mr. Billy Brisbane to the show. Brizzy, what's good? How are you?
Man, doing good. A little bit tired, but here we are, man. Another week to get paid. And there's a lot of games on this slate, but not a lot of high totals. So the work had to be done this week.
Well, let's get right after it because your first game is a spot that we have not discussed yet. 1 p.m. Eastern, New Orleans Saints, 3-4, 2-2 on the road at Indianapolis Colts, 3-4, 1-3 at home, where Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Zach Moss with elbow heel injuries, questionable, is expected to play, but you can imagine that Jonathan Taylor is going to get a lot of run. Braden Smith with a hip wrist injury at tackle, he's out. That hurts him. So is Kylan Granson. Now they're very deep in the tight end position, but he's their number one. And cornerback Juju Brents also with a quad injury, he is out. Tony Brown, cornerback, has a rib injury, is questionable. Eric Johnson, ankle injury, and is questionable. The Saints are dealing with a lot of injuries as well, but just James Hurst on the offensive line is out. They have a long list of questionable with, Jimmy Graham, offensive line with Andrews Pete. He's been questionable all year. Safety Marcus May, hamstring, and is also sick. There seems to be an illness going through the Saints right now. 3 different Saints listed as questionable due to sickness, and Tyrann Mathieu with a foot injury, but he's expected to play as well. Demario Davis with a knee injury listed as questionable as well. Let's get into the line history here. This was the number 1 voted spot on the Cappers contest show with Jose and myself, and that surprised me. There's been a big market move towards the New Orleans Saints. I did see 2.5. There are some 2.5s left, but it's -2 right now at Pinnacle. This opened up with them, at -1.5. Excuse me, at +1.5. So they've gone from +1.5 to -2, a 3.5 point move to the New Orleans Saints. From a total standpoint here in Saints Colts, we just saw, 77 points scored in the Colts last game against the Browns. Here we have it listed at 44. This opened up at 41.5. It's gone up 2.5 points. And from the cash flow in this Saints Colts spot, you have 51% of the tickets and 60% of cash on the Colts. Books not respecting that money, and 65% of the tickets on the over, but just 53% of the cash. Brizzy, take it away. Your first spot on the board.
Yeah, I'm going to trust my gut on this one. This is a very under-the-radar spot here for the Saints passing game that seems to really raise some questions this week. Monday night, overnight, wide receiver star Chris Olave was arrested for reckless driving, going 70 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone. While he isn't getting suspended by the NFL, I mean, a day after him and Derek Carr just had a blow-up during the game about a route, while they might have hashed out their beef, I think Rashid Shaheed is sneaking up on the public right now, over 33.5 receiving yards at -110. he's been kind of just waiting in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to open up. He's seen 14 targets over the past 2 weeks with a potential increase of snap share with Michael Thomas being active, but he is sick for this game. While the Saints offense has really lacked big plays down the field, they finally get a great matchup versus Indy. The Colts are allowing the 6th most passes downfield, and opponents are averaging 72.6 offensive plays, which is second most in the NFL. The Colts are running a lot of zone coverage, which should bode well for Shaheed, who's been lined up in the slot. He's been used on primary short crossing routes and deep passes, averaging 16.3 yards per target. So if he gets around that 4 to 5 target range for this one, he's going to smoke this line over 33.5 receiving yards at -110. You're muted, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. Sorry. Shaheed over 34.5 receiving yards at -110 for Brizzy to get started. Then we move over to the Houston Texans, Carolina Panthers spot, Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina. We've already gone over the line history and the movement, and very interesting to see LJ fade his own team. Who better than you to fade your own team, as I did last week, taking the Vikings over the Niners, my Niners. And LJ's done that here, taking the Panthers +3.5. What is Brizzy doing? By the way, Brizzy's made 15 bets on our show. Average line is +195. So he's a 43.93% ROI on 15 bets, and he's 9-6. It's pretty impressive. Take it away, Brizzy, Texans, Panthers.
Yeah, this is the big one for me. This is the week of the younger guys, I should say, because we're riding with Houston's Tank Dell over 47.5 receiving yards at -110. Tank Dell anytime touchdown at +260 at FanDuel Sportsbook. Coming back from a concussion, missing a few weeks, he showed us some splashes of talent already. I mean, this is the best wide receiver matchup on the board. Now we have Robert Woods out for this game, opening up a more bigger snap share. The Panthers have one of the worst secondaries without J.C. Horn and Jeremy Chin out of the lineup. This is just bodes well for Tank Dell. Fire me up all the Tank Dell that you can today. I think he's just going under the radar because he hasn't played the last couple of games. But prior to him having a concussion, he was on pace to have one of the best rookie wide receiver years, and he's with C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud should bounce back this week. This is actually one of the sneaky good fantasy game environments on the card today. Somewhat lower of a total, but it's just offensive goodness on both sides of the ball here from the Houston Texans and Carolina Panthers, and it's going to fire me up some Tank Dell. I love the rookie wide receiver and the quarterback combo.
Tank Dell, was that over 47.5 receiving yards?
Yep, -110.
And what was the anytime touchdown?
+260.
+260. You are locked and loaded with Tank back in action. Next over for you, we head back to State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. We've already discussed the spot. We heard that our guy LJ is on the Ravens first quarter -2.5, and he's on the Cardinals team total under. What are you doing here for Ravens Cardinals? Take it away.
Yeah, shouts to LJ. That's what I woke up to, was listening to LJ talk about the Ravens first quarter. I'm right there with him. Like he said, Ravens are 7-0 first quarter ATS, while the Cardinals are 3-4 first quarter ATS, but they're actually pretty good in the second quarter. The Ravens are first in both points scored per game in the first quarter and points not allowed per game in the first quarter. And they're 7th in red zone touchdown percentage, and the Cardinals are middle of the pack. So even if they don't score a touchdown, I could see them scoring a field goal here and not Arizona scoring. So there's a lot of different ways that they can get this done. Back the Ravens in the first quarter. I think it was against the Titans and then last week. So the Ravens first quarter has been a cash cow for me. I'm going right back to the wall.
Ravens first quarter, that's -2.5 at -114 at Pinnacle. I will see if that has changed, but you are locked and loaded. Next up, we have the Sunday Nighter for you. I hope you can join us on the Sunday Nighter. I will reach out to you. Bears, Chargers at SoFi in Inglewood, California. We've discussed the spot. We heard from Pistol Pete on the Bears. What's your plan?
Oh, yeah. I forgot to add a spot on the 1 o'clock slate of games. My bad. I sent you the games like early this morning. New York Jets and the Giants game. The land of New Jersey, I got to go to this game. Love me some Breece Hall anytime touchdown here at plus 115. Week six versus the Bills was the first time this season that a Giants defense kept an opposing running back out of the end zone. They've given up 10 touchdowns on the ground, which is fourth most in the NFL. They have allowed fifth most yards in general. Opponents are visiting the red zone 3 times more per game. Hall's snap share keeps on going up, 40% throughout the first 4 games, 52% 2 weeks ago. Then Philadelphia, 65%. He's had 11 different red zone touches in those 2 games. So you can get this done in multiple ways, either by catching or running it in. Love Breece Hall anytime touchdown this week.
Breece Hall anytime touchdown at plus 115. Great work, Jose, moving the banner to that game immediately. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Bears, Chargers.
Yeah, Sunday Night Football, looking, if it's not broke, don't fix it. DJ Moore over 4.5 receptions at minus 150 at Barstool Sportsbook. The Chargers have allowed a wide receiver one to go over their reception prop in 5 out of their last 6 games. Moore has seemed to find somewhat of a chemistry with bagging it with a 32% target share last week, which is higher than a season average of 26%, which is still pretty fucking high. Going over his reception prop in 5 out of his last 7 games, 46.5 total. Seems I thought was kind of low. And then you start seeing the other games on the board, and then this game is the second damn near highest total on the whole entire board. So there's going to be fantasy goodness on both sides of the ball in this game. Wouldn't mind the Joshua Palmer props in this one either. But if it's not broke, don't fix it. DJ Moore over 4.5 receptions at minus 150. I would even ladder that up to 7. I think he's due for about 7 catches, because if you look at the difference between quarterbacks, Justin Fields was holding on to the ball way too fucking long. Regardless if the offensive line's bad or good, he was just holding on the ball way too fucking long. You got this dude coming out of fucking D2. Granted, it's the same exact offensive line, and he's just getting the ball out faster. So I think that bodes well for the shorter passing route wide receivers and the tight ends. So I like DJ Moore in this one, and I actually think the Bears have a sneaky way of backdoor covering to being offensively good in this game.
And that was minus 150?
Yeah, minus 150 at as they call it, ESPN Bet nowadays.
Sounds great. You've been crushing it on the show this year, as always. So consistent, a top 5 every year, and so much respect for how you cap Brizzy. Let's review Brizzy's action here. He's on Shaheed over 34.5 receiving yards at minus 110. Tank Dell over 47.5 receiving yards minus 110. Anytime touchdown plus 260. He's on the Ravens first quarter minus 2.5 minus 114. Breece Hall anytime touchdown plus 115. And DJ Moore over 4.5 receptions at minus 150. Please follow our guy Brizzy on X at getting_Bills. And there's his Instagram, Billy Briz DFS. Brizzy, any last words for the cappers supporting the show?
Pleasure as always, man. Getting invited. We're week 8 into the season. Still nothing going back on the wall. That wall will be posted for a nice little big ticket. So let's cash some daily fantasy lineups by hitting these props first. Tank Dell season, baby. Let's go.
I love it. There he is, Billy Brisbane. We go from West Virginia and we head south. We head way south for your next guest, coming to us live from Escazú, Costa Rica. And man, has he been brilliant over the last while, putting money in our pockets across the board. And he's going to join us for the Breeders' Cup on Saturday, which is enormous for us, as his insights on the Euro Invaders are priceless and have put a lot of money into my account. Please welcome my friend, Mr. Flash Gordon, to the show. Flash, how are you?
Good morning, James. How are you?
I am great. It'd been a really stressful week. I had a really stressful week. I got on the phone with you. We started talking, about life and horses, and it really gave me a nice boost. So from a friendship side of things, thank you. You made me laugh, and I hadn't laughed, it felt like, in 5 days. And so thank you, Flash. I'm better after talking with you, my friend. You are 5-3 plus 1.64 units on the show, currently in 4th out of 25 cappers. Let's get right to work. We start at 1 p.m. Eastern for Jacksonville Jaguars, Pittsburgh Steelers. We are going to be talking about this game more. We've talked about it briefly earlier, so we have talked about this line move. I moved at the 2. I wish I was patient and got the 2.5, but it is what it is. We've heard from different cappers. We've heard, oh wait, no, that's coming up next. But we have heard from Birdie. Birdie cheating the Steelers. We haven't heard anybody on the Steelers, but you aren't on a side here, Flash. You are on a total. So take it away. Floor is yours. Acrisure Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 56 Fahrenheit. There are some showers. We're not sure how heavy they're going to be. It sounds like pretty light, and they could go away. Take it away, Flash. Jaguars, Steelers.
Yeah, I just think it's a bit of a chaos game. First of all, you got the 5-2 Jags, but the Steelers at home win. They're 5-2 as well, so incentive, but on both sides of the ball. Then you look at both sides of the ball for each individual side, and you've got Jacksonville can put up points, but the Steelers D can put up points as well. I thought the Steelers started to find a bit of a rhythm on offense last week, having different options, and we know that the Jags, their D takes points away. I think this interceptions from Lawrence, interceptions from the Steelers, fumbles. I just see that I've seen 40.5, James. 40.5. I see both these teams potentially getting in the 20s. And you know that there's that new rule now that if you're like behind and you just sling it up, you get pass interference. It doesn't even matter now. It's in the playbook. It's like, oh yeah, you're like 10 behind or you need points, sling it up, and the Zebras will throw the Castigo, which is obviously flag in Spanish. It's for me, I think this game is chaos. I can't pick the side. I think Jags are probably the better side, but Steelers at home, and how the Steelers potentially win today, go 5-2. 40.5. I expect both teams to get over 20 points. So I thought it was a bit of a steal, to be honest.
Over 40.5 at -111. I'm very interested in what Matt Canada's offense does in the red zone. Last in the league at 28.6%, but went 3 for 3 last week. And like Flash said, could they be getting some confidence? Because with Pickens, you certainly have the dream receiver in the red zone. Can Pickett handle it and do the job? Flash gets his card started with Steelers, Jags over 40.5 at -111. I'm so happy you have the next game on your slate.
Why have you gone against me?
No, I haven't. Sharps have.
Really?
Yes, but I have not.
Sure.
I have not, and I just want to talk about it. People have been talking about it in the chat. It's a game that is on the tip. This game is really tough for me. Let's do it. Minnesota Vikings 3-4, 2-1 on the road at the Green Bay Packers, 2-4, 1-1 at home at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, 39 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 7 miles an hour. You have crucial players on the Packers list as questionable. We expect them to be in the lineup, but Jair Alexander has been dealing with the back injury all year. How crucial is he after Addison's spectacular game last week? You have Devondre Campbell, the linebacker, ankle. Questionable. You have the number 1 tight end, their number 1 guy, Luke Musgrave, this year with an ankle injury. And then you have the offensive lineman, Josh Myers. For the Vikings, you have Ezra Cleveland, who is being questionable. This Vikings offensive line needs him badly. And, we've talked about Marcus Davenport being out and the pressure that puts on Danielle Hunter, who's so good, but they paid $13 million for 1 season of Davenport's services so that the pressure could be taken off of Danielle Hunter. Let's get into the line history. I can't wait. This chat is going to light up. Everybody wants to talk about this game, and I find it very tricky. The market move towards it's come back. So we've come back here. Interesting. So the Minnesota Vikings opened up at +1. That +1, I don't know if we legitimize really because it moved. I guess it didn't move as quick as I thought.
I saw the Vikings -2 as well, though.
Yeah, there is some offshores that have them -2. The Packers went from +1.5 to a pick'em.
I don't care. I'm not interested in the Packers anyway, to be honest. It's the Vikings all the way. It's a 2-unit play. The Vikings are a different class to the Packers. Packers are not going to be able to stay with them. And I love the fact that they're now. Listen, the boy in the backfield is now getting better and better with every single stride. So they run it. Listen, let's take away a little bit of, I'll give a bit of credit to Cousins, because I was on the 49ers on Monday night and thinking, don't worry, Cousins will actually spew it up. And he never. And then, the other thing they did? They spread out the field. They've got tight ends. Addison is absolutely munching at the moment. And I don't think the Packers can stay with the Vikings. And you're giving me 1. I mean, one is just like, what is it? I think it's like minus 115 or something like that. It's only minus 118 on the money line. It's just a mismatch. Vikings are so much better than the Packers. And I think the Vikings have been better than their 3-4 record. So this was really simple for me. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Vikings all the way, because they'll score more than the Packers.
The money line right now, we can give you the minus 107 on the
Really?
Vikings. Yeah, minus 107.
Got to shop around then, huh?
Right now, the market's moving back to the Packers. The Packers were plus 105, 3 hours ago. They're now minus 104. So we'll give you the Vikings money line minus 107. Touch on this for me. And this is what the Packers' vulnerability is on the ground. And Madison has been so bad. And I think that is the angle here. I mean, even the Broncos' weak running game put up 145 yards against the Packers. That's what they allow a game.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a star man today. I thought he was going to really give them problems, because you know what it's like. He only has to break for one or two, then they're going to bring them up, and then Cousins is going to exploit them down the field. I thought that this was just a beautiful matchup, and I had it Vikings -5.
Wow. And Saturated pulling out a comment from your book of literature. Saturated says the Packers would be better if they had a double dick dog at quarterback. What do you think of Jordan Love?
Consistently inconsistent. I think he's got two or three things going on in his brain every single snap. Does he tuck it? Does he drop it off? Does he then look for the windows? Listen, this is a mismatch for me. And again, I'm more than happy to be wrong. But when it just lit up on the board, it just lit up that I was getting like a pick 'em. And it was like, really? The Vikings put up points. They've got a quarterback who is executing. And the Packers can't stop a run. And that's come at the perfect time for the Vikings.
I this is so much fun, and I'm not going to be on it at this point. But interestingly enough, the public has now come on to the Packers. So now they have 62% of the tickets, and
the public don't really ever get behind the Vikings anyway, do they? They are one of them teams that they're always getting dogged.
No, that's true. That's true. This is you're adding to the fun and the levels of excitement on this game. Let's move on to the next spot on the board for you, and it's another huge one. Bengals 49ers at Levi's Stadium. We have talked about the spot off the top, and we've also discussed how Purdy has cleared concussion protocol in like 4 or 5 days. 4 days. I mean, no one else can clear it in a week.
I thought it was 10-day minimum. I thought it was 10 days. I know a few people have got their hands burnt by diving into the hornet's nest when it dropped to like -3, -3.5, and then you see it go back up to 5, 5.5. For me, it's all about points here. San Francisco. The 49ers are giving up. I think it was like 375 yards in the air to last week. And what's the one thing that that Joe Burrow is going to do? He's going to air it out. So I see again a little bit like what I said with the Steelers and the Jags. I see both these teams getting in the 20s. Over 43.5 points. I think this is going to have a playoff game. I think they're both going to be aggressive in their play calling. I just see both teams getting in the 20s. I wouldn't want to be on the side. I think if you force me on the 5, I think this is a last possession game, field goal, maybe a 27-24. 31-28. I mean, it's a great game to watch, but everything tells me that we're going to have takeaways from both teams. We're going to have great completions. We've got good quarterbacks, one that can just connect and one that can test you down the field. If I told you that Kirk Cousins was going to throw 375 yards the other night, you'd think I was like been on the pipe. It's like it was never going to happen. But they've not been tight. So let's see what shakes out today. But I've got this over 43.5.
I like it. I like it. I'm not expecting some sort of huge bounce back from the Niners, and we cleaned up last week. Cleaned up on the Vikings and same game parlay. Vikings team total over and Addison touchdown. But offensively, this is a pretty low total for the quality of offense.
Exactly. I think if you put a gun to my head, I'd go with the 49ers will win this game. But that plays into my over even more because the Bengals, they will throw it and they will get that PI late on. And again, this could be a 31-20 with like 4 or 5 minutes ago. And then we're already cashed. But I'm just going to love the fun and the sweat.
Oh, it's fun. You got a fun card on your hands. Flash has Steelers, Jags over 40.5 at -111. Vikings -1 at -107. 49ers, Bengals.
Did you not give me money line on the Vikings? Not that I'm.
Oh yeah, sorry. What? I don't know why I wrote -1 there. My bad.
It's just Jimmy Tax. That is. That's like 1 for you, 2 for me.
That was my bad. Vikings -107.
And it's 2 units. That, by the way.
Well, for your personal.
You don't do it on here. You don't do bankers.
No, you could if you want. You could.
That's what I do want. When I say to you,
then you're taking the Vikings money line and the Vikings on the spread as well.
You don't just do 2 units on 1 play.
No.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'll have 1 unit on -1 and 1 unit on money line.
Okay, and I'll get that for you right now. The best line we can get you on the -1 here. For these Vikings here. I love the bullish sentiment here. A -1 at +100 over at.
James, do you know anyone that puts a bet on that's not bullish prior to the event? It's almost like I'm putting this bet on, but I think I'm going to get beat. Is there people in the world that do that?
You seem to have an air of confidence within the spots that you bet, and not every.
Is that not everybody?
No, some people are.
If you have got an air of confidence about the spots you bet, don't bet them.
I agree. Absolutely agree. There we go. Vikings -107 on the money line. Vikings -1 at +100. And Brooklyn Fun Project says he could play the money line twice. Look, there's lots of different ways of doing things, but that's just how we.
Yeah, they're the rules. Here. They're the rules.
And Flash, you got a big week ahead of you at BetUS with your Breeders' Cup coverage.
Yeah, 5 o'clock Eastern, going through all 9 races. We went 5 from 9 last year, and they were like +700s, +650s. And this year, I think you're going to get the best value I've seen in a Breeders' Cup card for maybe 10, 15 years. I don't think you'll see. Maybe we'll see one favorite in the 9 races that'll be under +200.
And sorry, when is that show again? Can you let us know?
5 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday.
5 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday. We're going to find out the post positions tomorrow.
Monday afternoon,
and then we have the pleasure of having Flash on our show on Saturday for our live stream, which we're so thankful and excited for. Please follow our guy Flash on X, Flash_37. And Flash, thank you so much for making time for us, my friend.
No worries, you're more than welcome. Just make sure if you're feeling a bit under the weather, bet the Vikings.
Right, there he is. Flash Gordon in the house. Let's move on to our next guest. We go from Escazú, Costa Rica, back up north to the 6. Your next guest has had, last year he was simply spectacular on the show. I mean, there's no other way of putting it. He was 32-24, and he was plus 18.79 units. I don't have his average line. I probably should have had his average line out up here, but it was very high plus money average line. He was spectacular. So week 1, he started the season with a rough week. That will happen. He went 3-9, down 6.05 units. That will happen. But week 5, he came back and he had a strong week, and he will continue to have strong weeks till he's back in the top 5, because that's the kind of capper he is. He's also hugely important to our thoroughbred shows, and he will be with us on Friday and Saturday for the horses. Please welcome from Toronto, Mr. Spenny Pennybombs to the show. Spenny, how are you, my friend?
How we doing, Jimmy? How we doing, everybody in the chat today?
We are doing very well, and Spenny has tweeted out his action here. So let's break it down with his spots that he's locked in, and we start with the Rams Cowboys. A lot of Perky Sanderson in the chat wanting to discuss this game, and I knew that you had it on your card, so let's get to work. Rams 3-4, 2-1 on the road. The Cowboys 4-2, 2-0 at home at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas.
I didn't give you anything for this game.
You don't have Rams Cowboys?
No.
Oh, are you only doing player props, or the sides you're not doing?
Yeah, just the player props. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just what I sent you. Yeah, I'm not going to do it all today because that's just way too much.
Okay, so
I'll do Jacksonville and then the player props.
Okay, so Jose, then we're
I
gonna
can,
move
I can,
to
you know what? I can just do it. I can just do it real quick with that play. So it's super
but if
easy.
you
I can
don't
just
want
fly
it
through them quick.
included in your record keeping, it's up to you.
Yeah, you know what? Just we'll fly through them. I already
do it.
put them out anyway, so let's just go.
Let's do it. Okay, Rams, Cowboys, AT&T Stadium, and I'm happy we can talk about this game. Tyron Smith is questionable with a neck injury. It sounds like Jerry believes he's going to play, so he's probably going to play. For the Rams, they're a pretty healthy squad. Skronik, who's not been important this year, questionable with the Achilles injury, and then you have the Rob Harvenstein with the calf injury. The offensive lineman is hurt, so that is a bit of an issue. Let's get into the line history here for this one, as it is a big one. We're sitting here right now with the Dallas Cowboys at -7. So this opened up at 6. It was at 6.5 all week, and then it moved to 7. So we have a 1-point move towards the Dallas Cowboys. And from a total scenario, I am on the under, and finally some movement. Yes. God damn it. I've been waiting for this all fucking week. I got the under 45.5. We're finally going down. This got up to 46 at 9 this morning. Wow, I didn't even know that. That would have scared the shit out of me. Now we're down to 44.5. Thank God. Take it away, Spenny. Rams, Cowboys.
Yeah, the Rams have been, one of those sneakier teams this year, and especially against the spread here. I definitely like the Rams. I had the 6.5, but I'll happily take 7 if they're giving me an extra half point here. Rams have been able to show that they can still move the ball around. Obviously, the defense needs a little bit of work, but I still think that this game can be closer to an under, and have the Rams keep it within 7 points. So I definitely like the Rams with the points today.
You got it locked in. You tweeted it out, plus 6.5, -110. Next spot on the board is another side. Before we start going into side and player props, we have Falcons, Titans, Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. We've already discussed this game at length, so take it away. Well, not at length, but we've talked about the line history and the totals and what's going on at quarterback, I should say. Take it away, Spenny. Floor is yours. Falcons, Titans.
Yeah, I know that Tennessee's got some issues at quarterback here. They're probably going to play both of their quarterbacks here today, but I think they have a game plan coming in. That defense is still good against the run. A little vulnerable against the pass and with that secondary, but again, I don't touch Ritter. I think the coaching advantage is here with Vrabel. Give me some points at home in a divisional matchup here with Tennessee. So I like Tennessee with the points here.
You got it locked. Tennessee +3. You paid the juice for that. Now we get into side and player prop. We start with Texans, Panthers at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. We've discussed the situation. We watched LJ fade his Texans, taking the Panthers +3.5. You've been on the Panthers wagon all year. Well, not all year, but often this year. What are you doing here? You have side and player prop. Take it away.
Yeah. I was on Carolina earlier a bunch in this year, but they've shown that they just have no ability to keep games close, cover the spreads. And they're like 1-6 against the spread this year. Bryce Young hasn't looked good. That offensive line hasn't looked good. Their defense in whole hasn't looked good. And Houston's been a bet on team for me. Stroud's been super impressive. I think that he's going to show Carolina exactly what they missed out on not taking him in first overall. And I got the Texans at -2.5. It's up to 3.5 now. I like the Texans here at -2.5. Sorry, I love that play. I love the Texans here. I just think they're just a far better team, especially on both sides of the ball. So I think Texas takes care of business today. And for a player prop that we have here today, the Panthers are probably one of the worst teams in the league right now against the rush. They've let up 806 rushing yards this year with 11 TDs. Dameon Pierce has had a little bit of a slow start this year, but I think this is a breakout spot here for Dameon Pierce. So I have Dameon Pierce over 54.5 rush yards at -110. And then I also have his 75 plus rush yards at +250. And then I also added a late touchdown prop with him at +110, just because with the amount of TDs that Carolina's letting up, I think Pierce finds the end zone today as well. So +110 for his touchdown.
I've added that to your action. Let's move on to the next spot. Jacksonville Jaguars, Pittsburgh Steelers. I know your breakdown is going to have me very concerned. You have side and 2 player props. Take it away.
Yeah. I know, a few people are on Pittsburgh here, but and don't fade Pittsburgh at home, dude. Don't fade Pittsburgh at home. But I just think that Jacksonville is a superior team. And also, if you kind of go back and look at their ATS record against Pittsburgh, they're 13-6-1 their last 20 against Pittsburgh. They're 7-0 ATS on the road their last 7, and they're 5-1 in their last 6 ATS on the road against Pittsburgh. I just think that Jacksonville is a far superior team. Their defense is stepping up. This offense can score. I like Jacksonville -2, -2.5, whatever. I got it at 2.5. I think that Jacksonville wins this game. I just don't think that Pittsburgh has the ability to keep up with Jacksonville. Obviously, there can be some turnovers in this game, but I like Jacksonville, and I'm high on Jacksonville today. And then also just the way that Pittsburgh's rush D, that Pittsburgh has the 4th worst rush D in the entire league right now. They're letting up almost 115 rush yards per game. So my boy Etienne is going to have a game today. So Etienne over 63.5 rush yards at -115, and his 75 plus rush yards at +145.
You got that locked in. You also took a receiver for your Jaguars.
Yeah,
as well,
and then
right?
Again, Pittsburgh secondary has not been great. Again, bottom of the pack with their secondary. Christian Kirk's kind of stepped up in the last few weeks as being more of the wide receiver 1, but I think this is a Ridley spot. And so I got Ridley receiving yards. I believe it was 45.5 or 44. I believe it was that.
49 and
Yeah,
a half
49.
receiving yards,
And
-110.
so yeah, I think Ridley, and also with the 60+ receiving yards as well. So yeah, I like that.
60 plus at +118.
Yeah.
Next up for you, another game everybody wanted to discuss, and thankfully you have it on your card. Patriots, Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens, Florida, 83 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 16 miles per hour. Now, the Patriots have, as always, a laundry list of players questionable. Josh Uche, ankle toe, important linebacker, and then defensive tackle Christian Barmore, offensive tackle Calvin Anderson is sick, defensive end Keon White concussed. The most important thing is that Cole Strange is off the injury report, and a very important guard for them. Also, defensive tackle Devon Godchaux is cleared the injury report. So is Ty Montgomery, for that matter. And the Dolphins, again, now they have Jalen Ramsey, which is crucial. Jalen Ramsey will be making his season debut here this week, which is very, very important. Xavier Howard still with the groin injury. He's listed as questionable. It's another laundry list of most.
That's pretty for sure too for Miami.
Okay, so just a huge list, a laundry list for both of the Javon Holland, who you guys are talking about with the concussion. They have Connor Williams been dealing with the groin injury. And as I said, these guys with these groin injuries who didn't get the extension, didn't get the payday that they screamed for, are just not going to risk for you in that regard. So finally, we get to talk about this game. I'm happy that you have it on your card. From a spread scenario, the line is moving towards the Patriots. We actually see a very juiced 7.5 on the board, mostly 8s. This has gone from 8 to 8.5 here at Pinnacle. It's still 8.5. Now this opened with Miami -10.5, so there's still been a 2-point move here, and that Patriots plus 8.5 is very juiced. From a cash standpoint here, we have here we go. From a total standpoint, we're sitting at 46.5. This was a spot where Dennis Garcia was bullish on the under 47, and I really like it, but I didn't pull the trigger, and I got burnt on. I went 5-1 on sides yesterday in college football, but 0-2 in totals, and I'm just that's the money line. My bad.
These lines, they're really trying to keep them down a lot, especially with all these unders that have been popping up of a rate. So you're getting a lot of these, sharp numbers or lower numbers than we were getting early in the season too, right? So I get it. It's hard to pull the trigger on a certain spot here, but I like the.
But you have.
I like
let me just touch on the cash on the total.
Yeah,
here.
go ahead.
54% of the tickets and 86% of cash on the under. And from a spread scenario, we have 45% of tickets, 56% of cash on the Patriots. Take it away, Spenny. Floor is yours.
Yeah, these teams played earlier in the year. Obviously, they went under earlier in the year, but the Patriots still were able to move the ball in that game. They obviously had their red zone struggles. They've been able to make some adjustments the last couple of weeks and be able to get themselves actually inside of the end zone. They're, as soon as they get into that spot, they're ranked one of the higher teams in the league at getting the ball into the end zone. So I think Mac, obviously has made a little bit, a couple of adjustments the last couple of weeks. Less mistakes. So obviously, if we can keep the mistakes down here, but even if there's mistakes, then it bodes for points either side. So I like the over in this game. I got 46 earlier in the week, so I like the over 46 in this game. Patriots can move the ball on Miami's defense. That defense, I don't trust it. I have said it all year long. I do not trust Miami defense, especially with their injuries. They can get Jalen Ramsey back, but that's his first game back in a while, and I'm not sure how many snaps he's actually going to play, and how much he'll actually contribute. So New England's been able to show that they can still move the ball, get the ball in the end zone, and obviously Miami's an electric offense, and New England has a ton of injuries on the back end. Hill is injured, but he went up against Gonzalez last time they played against Miami, and Gonzalez is out. J.C. Jackson's back, but I don't think he's the same as when he left New England the first time. We'll have to see how he comes over again and continues to play over here. But I do not think that he is the same player that left the first time. And so I definitely think there's points in this game. So give me the over 46 here.
And let's talk about these two player props. We've got to be very tight. We've got to move on to our next guest. Saints, Colts. Talk to us about your wide receiver player prop.
Yeah, well, he kind of popped on the injury report with a little bit of an illness last night, but he is active today. He's ready to go. I'm going to stick with it. Michael Thomas has gone over 50 receiving yards in five of the 7 games this season. He's got a decent rapport here with Carr. He's been sneaky good receiver for the Saints here, and this Colts secondary is absolutely terrible, ranked near the bottom of the league right now. And I think that if the Saints were ever to get the ball moving around a little bit more, it would be today against this Colts. So I like Michael Thomas over 48.5 receiving yards at -110.
Then we move over to Jets, Giants, and you have a running back prop. Take it away. Yeah,
and again, another team that's not good against the run this year. Giants are ranked near the bottom of the league. If you're a fantasy guy, that the Giants are letting up almost 22 fantasy points per game to running backs. So that's high production and fantasy wise. So I like Breece Hall over 67.5 receiving yards at -115, and then a little late addition, I added the touchdown at +130 as well. So be on that with really.
Right? Over 67.5 rush yards at -115.
Yeah, over 67.5 rush yards at -115. And then the touchdown at +130.
+130 locked in. Spenny, you're the man. Thank you for rocking with us. I can't wait for Breeders' Cup action with you all weekend. Spenny's on the Rams +6.5, Tennessee +3, Houston -2.5, Damian Pierce over 54.5 rush yards, 75 or more, and anytime touchdown. He's on Jacksonville -2.5, Etienne over 63.5 rush yards and 75 or more. He's on Calvin Ridley over 49.5 receiving yards and 60 or more. He's on the over in New England, Miami, Michael Thomas over 48.5 receiving yards, and Breece Hall over 67.5 rush yards and anytime touchdown. Thank you, Spenny. Please follow Spenny on Twitter
Let's have a day, boys.
At Penny_, and you will see him all over the channel for the horses this weekend. Any last words for the cappers supporting the show, Spenny, my guy?
No, just go out there and crush it. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you next time, boys. Have a good one.
There he is, Spenny Penny Bombs. We move on to your next guest. He made his NFL Pub Hub debut here on week 2, and he had a tough week, but we believe in him very, very much and wanted him to come back and clean up that record and put some black in his action. Black is beautiful. Please welcome our guy, East Carolina Pirate, Earl Sports Bets. Earl, how are you?
Good. Doing good. NFL Sunday. Ready for it.
Let's get to work. You start with Texans, Panthers, Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have Nicholas Earl and then the Big Ragu closing it up. Nick, we've already heard our guy LJ bet against his squad. What are you doing here at Bank of America?
I'm going to join them here. Give me the Panthers 3.5 and money line as well. This is a game I have circled for them to potentially get their first win of the season. I have the Texans on my power rankings, I believe, as about a half-point favorite in this game. So getting up and over that field goal, I think it's very appealing here for the Panthers. I know not many people are going to want to bet the Panthers. 0-6 this season, 0-5-1 ATS. but this is a spot where they're at home. And this is actually feels like more of a spot where I don't know if Houston should be laying 3 and a hook on the road in this spot. So I'm going to grab some Panthers here, plus the 3.5 and the money line as well.
Panthers plus 3.5 minus 108 at Pinnacle right now. I'm going to grab the money line here in a second. While I'm finding you the money line, talk about your spot, Jets Giants at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned this earlier in the stream. You said who better to fade your own team than yourself? I'm going to do that here. Give me the Jets at -3. This Giants team, this is not they finally got off the schneid last week. I was on them last week big against the Commanders. They got the job done. This is not the game I think they will. Defensively, I think the Jets will be able to slow down the Giants. They're coming off of a bye week here. The Jets, and I kind of like Zach Wilson. I think that Zach Wilson gets a little bit too much hate. So I am on the Jets -3. I also, looking at what the Giants have done in the first half this season, and that is struggle offensively. I am going to be on the first half under 17 in the first half here in the spot between the Jets and the Giants as well. I like this game to go under. The Jets defense I have rated really high, and this Giants offense I think is going to continue to struggle offensively, especially in the first half. They finally got on the board with touchdowns last week in the first half. I think that this is a Giants team I'm going to look to take unders, especially first half with. So first half under 17 is what I got for that.
First half under and Jets -3. We got you a money line for the Panthers at +165. I'm going to line shop for the first half under and the Jets -3. While I'm doing that, talk about your final spot on the board here. Jacksonville Jaguars, Pittsburgh Steelers at Acrisure. Floor is yours.
Yeah, my cap for this is pretty simple. The wrong team is favored in this matchup here. My numbers have the Steelers as about a 1 point favored in this game. So I grabbed them on the money line here. I believe I got a bad number at like 111. It's up to like 120-ish, 115 I'm seeing on Bet Online. I am on that. And I also, I'll add this as well. I tagged them in a two-teamer with our a teaser, a two-team teaser. Got them up and over the touchdown at +8.5 and tagged them along with the Tennessee Titans up at that 8.5 number as well. I like the Steelers in this spot, and I think we should see some regression from the Jaguars. I was honestly really impressed that they ended those last 4 games with 4 wins, because that was the game. That was a stretch I thought they were really going to struggle because they played 2 games in London, came back home with no bye week, beat the Colts, and then went on a short week and beat the Saints as well. But I like the black and yellow here, getting the money line here at a plus price tag. So I'm on the Steelers. I also tagged them in a teaser with the Titans.
And for the first half under here, so I got your Steelers Titans +8.5, +8.5. The first half under with the Jets, it's going to be a 17 flat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, going to be a 17 flat. I saw -114, but I bet I can beat that here if I just go right to Pinnacle. And they have it's same deal. Under 17, first half under 17 at -114, -114. Jets -3, Steelers +8.5, and Titans there. And then we need to get you the Steelers on the money line. So let's do that now here right this second. The Steelers money line to finish off Nicholas's card here. Is +120. +120 is the best we can get. So that's what we'll give you. So let's review your action here. You have the Steelers +120. You have the Steelers +8.5 and the Titans +8.5. You have the first half under 17 in Jets Giants and the Jets -3, -107. You have the Panthers +3.5 at -108 and the money line at +165. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicholas Earl. Please, everyone, check out Earl Sports Bets on YouTube. Him and his brother Tim getting the job done. And follow Earl on Twitter at Nicholas Earl. Nick, any last words for the Capper Sport? At Earl, was that
Nicholas _Earl?
Okay, yeah, _Earl.
Yep,
and any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Let's crush it today. Let's have a good NFL day.
There he is, Nicholas Earl. We move on to our final guest here on the show. Currently our leader out of 25 cappers. He is also our champion in year one and placed fourth in year two. I mean, we're talking consistency at an enormously high level. He's 22-15 plus 7.14 units, but he's coming off a back-to-back weeks. Now, we didn't have him last week, but weeks 5 and 6 were his first losing weeks of the season. He was absolutely he was 18-6 before these last 2 weeks, week 5 and week 6. So even though he is the best that we have, he is still looking for a bounce back spot. Please welcome. I'm not sure where he is. It looks nice. It looks much nicer than, well, my blinds are closed. I don't even care what it looks like outside, but I can imagine it looks dreary and shitty. Please welcome from Ocala, Florida, by way of New York City, the Big Ragu. Doc, where are you?
I'm in St. Pete, Clearwater. I went to Sammy Hagar concert last night. I'm glowing with energy today. I am going to rectify my 2-week back-to-back losing record, just like your 49ers did. I'm coming out hot today.
I love it. I love it, Doc. I love it, Doc. And you start with Jacksonville Jaguars, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going to blow through these picks real quick because I know people need to get to the window and make their plays. But, yeah, I'm on the Jags first half, you know. My cap lines up with Spenny's. The Jacks in the first half of games, Pittsburgh's giving up 14 points on average at half. The Jags have got the number 2 defense in first half, allowing points wise. The differential is pretty good. Pittsburgh's giving up almost 5 yards a carry. That bodes well with Spenny's numbers. Jags are like 3.8. But hey, I'm kind of leery about the full game, but I do like the Jags, full game. But I think the number is stronger for the first half for them coming out. So I'm on the Jacksonville first half. 3-0 on the road Warriors. Pittsburgh not bad, 2-1 at home. They're sitting at the top of the league, because they beat Cleveland and Baltimore. So it's an important game for them also. But Jags first half for me is where's my money going today.
Do you want the minus a half point at minus 103 or the money line at minus 127?
No, I'll take the minus a half.
Minus a half at minus 103 for our guy, the Big Ragu. Let's move on to the next spot for Doc's card. That's Falcons Titans in Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. We've talked a lot about this spot.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see Will Levis, and I wish I had the balls to bet on him, and I don't. But take it away, Doc. I can't wait to hear your breakdown. Falcons Titans.
It's pretty simple for me here. I know the number's low. I'm going to be on the full game under here, guys. Full game under. Smith got his start in Tennessee. He moved up the ranks starting in 2011 to 2020. 9 years he spent with the organization. These guys know each other well. With Levis coming in, I don't expect them to ask him to do too much. I think we're going to see a lot of ground and pound type here. Atlanta's been nice. They've kind of snuck some wins away with in the field goal position. I think we see that type of game today. I think we see a low smash mouth type football game. I don't see a lot of fireworks here. I look a lot of ground control. And even though the number is 35.5, 36, whatever you got up on the screen, that puts me on the under. I can see this game easily finishing up like 19-10, 17-13. This is that type of game. So I'm on the under all over this one here.
Under 35.5 at minus 108 is available at Heritage in Falcons Titans. Under 35.5 at minus 108. Then we move over to Bengals Niners at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. What a wild week of Purdy being in or out. Yeah. Bengals at 3-3 off the bye. Niners look like world beaters coming off back-to-back losses. And the second one we profited enormously on. The first one, Troy Torrance profited enormously on. Take it away for us here, Doc. Bengals Niners at Levi Stadium.
Yeah, it's time to jump back on the Niners here, guys. Plain and simple. We know these teams are kind of trending different directions, but that Cleveland game set them up for a bad spot with the Minnesota game, which if you draw a line through that one, which I did, so every team has that game, and that was that game for the Niners. And like you said, with Purdy, in the concussion protocol coming back in, we know Debo's going to be out, but the Niners are a lot better football team than we've seen the last couple of weeks. And, it was one of those things where, Purdy got his first L. He's not Superman. You know what I mean? He's got to take an L sooner or later. So he's got that washed out off of his card now. And then now is a get-right spot for the 49ers against a real good, nice Bengals team that's coming in, playing good football, kind of turned the corner here. But what they've done well, the 49ers at home, they've kind of dominated. They put up 30 points on average, in a lot of these spots before those last 2 weeks. I think they come back to the norm here. I think Cincinnati's defense has some issues, and not that they're going to get exposed by the Niners, but the Niners are just going to play Niner football in my book here. So I like the Niners in the first half especially. I'm going to give up the 2.5 points, and I'm going to jump. I usually don't double up on the spot here, but today I will. I think the Niners team total over 23.5 looks good also. So I'm going to take the Niners first half, laying the 2.5, and I'm going to take the Niners on the team total over.
Okay, well, let's get that 2.5 here for the Niners first half, and let's lock that in. I'll have to move to Pinnacle because we just see the threes right now. The 2.5's minus 118.
That's fine.
Minus 2.5 at minus 118 for the Niners. And then at Pinnacle, the team total here is expensive. It's 23.5 and expensive.
Yeah, what is it?
It's 23.5 at minus 130, but I can look at some other books. So we'll come.
You know
back.
what? Just take me off of the team total. Just keep me on the first half. The Niners.
Okay. 49ers minus 2.5 at minus 118. That would have been a much cheaper proposition probably when you bet
that's
it.
all right.
Purdy
It's a
was
long
questionable.
season. We're not rushing to get anything done. We're just going with quality plays, not quantity plays.
I love it. Let's move on to your final spot on the board. We still have 10 minutes till kickoff. We'll hear Ragu's final spot. He might have a teaser for us, and then we will move on and just review everybody's action and head us into Sharpie's Red Zone coverage here for us, Pub Hub or NFL Pub Sports Radio Red Zone. Take it away for us. It is the Monday Nighter, which you will be on the live stream for Raiders Lions at Ford Field. Ragu, take it away.
Yeah, I've had pretty good luck segueing my Monday night plays, on the show on Sundays, going into the live plays that, live bets that we do on Monday night. But I took a bad beat last week with you on the show. I had the under in the Minnesota game, and we kind of had a breakaway touchdown, 60-yard play that put the game over to 22.5, which landed on 23 with the missed extra point. Go figure that too, right? So, but yeah, I'm coming back to a live first half under here in this spot. Two teams that got beat downs that are pretty, not so much on the offensive side, which the offensive production was down for both of these teams last week. We know what happened with the 38-6 game with the Ravens. You can draw a line through that one. And as far as what the Bears did with Badgett, against these Raiders, I mean, embarrassing there too. So I look both of these teams to kind of step it up defensively early on. We know the Lions are all about the offense, but I think their defense is going to play up a little bit here. And you got Garoppolo coming back next week too. So, Monday night. So I like both teams to kind of start off a little slow like I usually do. I'm on prime time unders. And you know what? I'm going right back to the well with this one. This one here, I think we're sitting at 23.5. So we need like 4 scores, 3 touchdowns and a field goal to kind of get us over the hump to lose. Can it happen? Sure it can. But will it? I don't think so. I think Monday night, like I said, we go back to the norm. We see like a nice little 20 point spot scored early on. So I'm on the under here, guys.
The 23 is minus 110. The 23.5 is minus 121.
We're going to go with the 23.
23 flat, minus 110 for Big Ragu. Our guy, Doc, coming to us live on a weekend trip with a beautiful wife, Kelly. Thank you for caring about us and making time for us on your vacation.
Brother.
Doc is
I
on
got the parting shot
Oh,
here,
yeah.
guys. The teaser.
Yeah,
I didn't get it in last week, and I'm glad, or the week before, and it wouldn't have been a good look for me anyways, because I probably would have lost it. But today I got a solid teaser. I like it a lot. We know that the Dolphins are Patriot killers, and the tease is a good spot for this game. We know the Patriots are taking money, but I think the Dolphins get it done at home, under that number with the teaser. And then also the Ravens, I think the Zoners had their beat down of the Cowboys at home. I don't think they beat the Ravens here. I think the Ravens are a field goal better, at least in this spot. So put me on the Ravens and put me on the Dolphins in the teaser.
So at this point, there's been a huge move to the Ravens. Well, I guess it's not the huge move to the Ravens, big move to the Chargers. So at this point, you would get the 3.5 on the Ravens, minus 2 on the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Dolphins -2, Ravens -3.5 for our guy. Big, you know what? That's not fully true. There, I think. No, those are shady books. No, that's not true. You can get the 1.5 for the Dolphins. Those are legit books handing that out. So -1.5 on the Dolphins, and then all of the books are at 9. Well, bookmakers at 9. Bookmakers at 9. So we can give you the 3 then. Bookmakers.
Yeah,
at
but
9.
you three you lose anyways.
Yeah.
Three's a loser in the teaser. So,
What?
but I'll take it. Yeah, by 4. Either way, 4
Yeah.
four's got to get me home, right? So,
Yeah.
give me whatever you got to give me. I don't care. Give me whatever you got. I don't
Okay,
care.
you are locked in, and we can't wait to have your insights for the Breeders' Cup next weekend as well. So this is Ragu's card. The teaser is Dolphins -1.5, Ravens -3. He's on the first half under 23 in Raiders, Lions. He's on the 49ers -2.5 first half. That's first half -2.5, -118. He's on the under 35.5 in Atlanta, Tennessee, and he's on the Jaguars first half -0.5. Please send our love to Kelly, and please thank her for allowing you to rock with us on your weekend.
Absolutely, guys. Let's
please
everybody
follow-
have a day today.
Please follow Ragu on X as well, at Big Ragu62. Ragu, we love you. Any last words quick before you bounce?
No, everybody cash big today. Like I say, see you at the window, fellas. Cash them tickets.
There he is, the big Ragu. King O says, Florida's amazing weather. I love living here. Yes, you guys are very, very fortunate. Very, very fortunate group. All right, let's review all action here on the show before we head you off to Sharpie's show. Donut Silks. Oh, we need your insight. We need the thoroughbred cappers to come together and form like Voltron. We need it bad. We have so many of the stars of our thoroughbred shows going to be live at Santa Anita. Now they'll jump on live with us, but still, it's good. We're going to need to pull up our slacks to try and handle these shows without them. Let's review all action. Birdie's on the Titans team total under 16.5. He's on the Jets money line, Steelers +8.5 at +103. Jets money line, Seahawks money line +140. Giants team total under 13.5 at +125. Then he is on Bengals +4.5 at -110 and Vegas +8 -110. LJ's on the Panthers +3.5. CJ Stroud over a half interception. He's on the under 35 in New York, Giants, Jets. And he's on Ravens first quarter -2.5 and the Cardinals team total under 17.5. He's on Mahomes over 274.5 passing yards and the over 45.5. Pistol Pete Loshak gave us the Commanders +7, the Broncos +7, and the Bears +10. And then Brizzy gave us Shahid. God, I always think of Tribe Called Quest when I say his name. We have that on Saints, Colts. Tank Dell over 47.5 receiving yards, anytime touchdown +260. Ravens first quarter -2.5. Brees Hall anytime touchdown. DJ Moore over 4.5 receptions. Flash Gordon gave us Steelers Jags over 40.5. Give us the Vikings money line and the Vikings -1. The double dip on the Vikings and the 49ers Bengals over 44. Damon says if the Chargers lose tonight, we can drink together. We can drink together forever, Damon, but the Chargers are not going to lose, and we're going to stay alive in the Survivor. And then Spenny, he tweeted out all his action, +6.5 on the Rams, Tennessee +3, Houston -2.5. Those are both juiced to -125. Damian Pierce over 54.5 rush yards and 75+ and anytime touchdown. Jacksonville -2.5, -110. Etienne over 63.5 rush yards and 75 or more at +145. Calvin Ridley over 49.5 receiving yards and 60 or more at +118. He's on New England, Miami over 46 at -110. Michael Thomas over 48.5 receiving yards at -110. Brees Hall over 67.5 rush yards and anytime touchdown. And anytime touchdown +130. Nicholas Earl gave us the Panthers +3.5 in the money line. First half under 17 for Jets, Giants, and Jets -3. Steelers money line and Steelers +8.5. Titans +8.5. A teaser, and we give all the cappers who give us a teaser, we give them at -110. I know it's -120 regularly, but we give them a -110 for record keeping purposes. Jaguars first half -0.5 at -103 for Doc, under 35.5 Atlanta, Tennessee. 49ers first half -2.5 and the first half under 23 in Raiders, Lions, and the teasers Dolphins -1.5, Ravens -3. That is our show for today. The least amount of action I've had on a Sunday in a long time. So I have Rams, Dallas under 45.5, Steelers +2, and Commanders +7, 1 p.m. slate. Then in the afternoon slate, I have Broncos +8 and the Bengals +6. And then I just have my same game parlay and live action and a bottle of aged rum for our Sunday night live stream. Big thank you to Jose Bouquet. He works tirelessly making our shows look good. You guys know with a 6 a.m. flight, he was loading graphics on the flight for our show on Friday. And thank you, Jose, for all the hard work that you put in. I hope you're enjoying your time in Miami. And that is our show for the day. Truly, we have nothing without you guys in the chat. Brad Summersell, Jason Meyer, Nasty Nate. No, actually, Nasty, it's funny. Sonny tried to make that joke because he was here a couple days ago. And then Sonny brought the rum, thinking that this might be the rum that I stole from him. But his rum that I stole a few years ago is much, much nicer than this 8-year age. Come on. But it's funny you brought it up because he reminded me about it nonstop. Cam Raphael, Damon Santori, Ian Shaber, Charlie Chips, Tori Coker, Donut Silks, King O, Londo, Justin McElvey, Al Cervic, Derek Para, Noli Nose, Spenny Pennybombs, Mikey M, North Ender, Harold Williams, G Martinez. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for all that you put into the show. We truly have nothing without you guys. And the cappers that started on today's show, Birdie, LJ, Loshak, Brizzy, Flash, Spenny, Nicholas, and Ragu. Thank you all. Let's go do what we do. Let's hope this roller coaster ride is extremely enjoyable and we don't get hit in the face by a goose. Let's go get this fucking money. How about that? We go get this fucking cash, man. Leche! Alos bookmakers. Milk that shit. Milk it.